let's talk about account and settings. Use account and settings to turn on, off QuickBooks Online features. It is important to turn off features you will not be using because it creates less fields during the input process. It is okay to turn on features as the need arises, but we are going to go through each section so that you can set up your company settings and data correctly. You can always change a setting, but with this training, you will understand what the setting represents. Go to Settings with the gear icon and choose Account and Settings. Let's start with the Company tab. Company settings is where you enter info about your business, like your contact and tax information. This is used when you communicate with customers and vendors. To get started, click on the pencil icon or click anywhere in the highlighted space. Let's start with your logo. Click on the plus sign to upload your company's logo. After you choose your logo from the computer, QuickBooks automatically adds it to your invoices or wherever you email or print something for your customers like statements. Next, let's add your company name, which shows up on printed or emailed sales forms and purchase orders. If your legal name, which appears on tax forms, is different, uncheck that box next to the same as company name and enter the legal name in the box provided. Your customers can see one name, but your legal information is still captured on official documents in QuickBooks. The last part of this section lets you enter your federal employer identification or Social Security number. Save any new information edited or added. In the Company Type section, click on the pencil icon or highlighted area. Choose the tax form you use when filing your yearly taxes, and you can also enter what industry your business is in. Click Save once complete. Click on the pencil icon or highlighted area to enter your contact info. First, enter your company email. If you have a different email you'd like customers to contact you at, uncheck this box and enter it in the customer-facing email field. Enter your phone number along with your website information, which will show in the QuickBooks Business Network and on sales forms. Click Save when finished. Click on the pencil icon to enter your address. Your address is important because QuickBooks uses it to calculate taxes like the sales tax you charge customers and state payroll taxes. It's usually included whenever you send a sales form or purchase order. Edit the second address box if you want customers to send payments or write back to you at a different address. Uncheck this checkbox and enter your customer-facing address. Click Save once done. Lastly, in the third address box, you can also have a different address that's used wherever you file your taxes. Make any changes and save. To change your communications with Intuit, click on the Marketing Preferences and the link will take you to your Intuit account. That completes our company settings. The Billing and Subscription section provides you with your company ID information and QuickBooks subscription information, along with any apps you have used in the past or are currently registered with. The Usage tab allows how many billable users you have, along with how many are available with your subscription. With my QuickBooks Online Advanced plan, I have up to 25 users plus unlimited access to the chart of accounts, classes and locations, and tags. Now let's click the Sales tab in the left menu bar. The Sales tab allows you to customize your sales forms and content based on your business needs. You can start by choosing the custom look and feel. Here you can choose from the standard form or create a new style. I will choose a new style for an invoice. You can customize your design, content, and email information. Since this is more involved than setting up a preference, we will cover this in more detail in a separate video. Let's move on to the sales form content section. Click the pencil icon to customize your preferences. Choose the default payment date to show on invoices to your customers. I will choose due on receipt. Next, choose your preferred delivery method, whether you want to print later, send later, or you don't want to have a default method. If you want to add shipping fields that will add date, tracking number, destination, and subtotal to your sales forms, make sure your button is turned on. To add custom fields, click on the link shown under Custom Fields. Here's what the screen looks like. I have another video that demonstrates how to set up your custom fields. Turn on if you want to use your own custom transaction numbers instead of QuickBooks self-generated numbers. Turn on to add a service date field if you need to track the date a service was performed separately from the invoice date. Turn on to add a discount field to invoices and other sales forms. Turn on to add a deposit field to invoices so that you can subtract a customer deposit from the total to calculate the balance due. Turn on to add a tips field to sales receipts. Turn on if you want to add tags to track sales in a certain way. Once you've finished, choose Save. In the Products and Services section, you choose how to track the things you sell or services you provide. I would highly suggest turning on to add a product service column on sales forms so you can choose from a list of products and services to include if you sell any kind of product or keep track of inventory. If you need to associate barcodes to your products, turn on the Show SKU column feature. Price Rules is in beta, but like QuickBooks Enterprise, you can create multiple price rules to provide discounts for specific products to certain customers for a specified amount of time. Turn on if needed. Turn on Track Quantity and Price Rate to add a quantity and rate field to sales forms so you can track this information for product and services. If you need to track inventory quantity on hand, turn on this option. This is the same as inventory parts in QuickBooks Desktop. Once you're finished, choose Save. If you charge late fees to your customers, click on the pencil icon or Late Fees section to turn on the preference. Then choose whether it's a flat fee or a percentage of the remaining balance. Next, enter the amount or percentage depending on the type along with the frequency. Choose the grace period, which begins after the due date, if any. Enter the item name that will appear on the invoice. Keep in mind that you can customize these settings for individual customers from your dashboard under Customers. If you invoice your customers multiple times from a single estimate, you will want to turn on Progress Invoicing. An example would be a construction company who invoices many times throughout the progress of the project. Click Save if any changes were made. If you email sales forms such as invoices, estimates, and sales receipts, to name a few, you will want to edit the message section to customize your default template for each sales form. Choose Save when finished. If you choose to use the feature to send out reminder emails, click in the Reminders section to view your message template and make any changes as needed. Click Save if you made any changes. Again, if you are emailing your sales forms, you can customize how your customer views the email through the online delivery section. Your options are to view as a short summary or give full details to be shown within the email. You can also choose whether to attach a PDF of the form and whether to show the invoice as an online invoice, HTML format, or plain text. Click Save once finished. Statements is the last option within the Sales tab. Here you can customize whether to show an aging table at the bottom of the customer statement. It will list the amount owed by how many days overdue. You can choose how much detail to give to your customer, whether to list each transaction as a single line or add all detail lines too. Click Save when finished. That concludes our sales settings. Let's move on to the Expenses tab. Do you need to track the profitability of your jobs by customer or project? In the Bills and Expenses section, you can choose how you want to track your information. Let's get started. In my opinion, I don't know why QuickBooks offers you an option to show the items table on expense and purchase forms. This is an integral part of QuickBooks keeping track of your information. This allows you to add a product and/or service on your expense and purchase forms, while behind the scenes categorizes the product or service in the correct chart of accounts automatically. If you want to assign tags on expense and purchase orders for reporting purposes, make sure this option is turned on. To track expenses and items by customer, choose to enable. This will create a customer column on your expense and purchase forms so you can track expenses and items by customer. The next option is to make expenses and items billable. This feature allows you to use one or more income accounts to track billable expenses and items on sales forms. When you enable this option, you can choose to mark up your expenses and items at a default rate. You can also choose to track billable expenses as income and if you need to charge sales tax. Lastly, you can choose your default bill payment terms. I'll choose net 15 and save. If you're going to use purchase orders, make sure this option is turned on. If you want to add custom fields to your purchase order form, click the link to take you to the setup screen. This will allow you to enter your custom fields to show in the header of your purchase order. Let's go back to our account and settings form. Next, in the purchase orders section is the custom transaction numbers feature. This allows you to use your own numbering system. If the field is left blank or you don't enable this feature, QuickBooks will automatically assign a number to your purchase order. If you're going to email purchase orders to your vendors, you can create a default message or make any changes to your current default message. Click Save when finished. QuickBooks Payments let you accept credit cards, debit cards, and ACH bank transfers. QuickBooks processes the payment and records the transaction for you. You can take payments directly from customers on your computer or mobile phone, either manually or with a credit card reader. You can also include payment options on invoices so that your customers can pay you faster. Your first payment you take will show up in your bank within 5 days. After that, you should see the payments deposit much faster, even on the same day for eligible accounts. If you signed up for QuickBooks Online through my Intuit link, you not only received a QuickBooks Online discount, you should automatically be signed up with preferred rates that save you more than the rates shown here for credit card processing. Click Connect. You should see your payments account and choose it to be able to accept payments. If QuickBooks couldn't find your payments account information, click on my link below and fill out your contact information to receive preferred rates with a sign-up form. Also, if you process more than $7,500 per month with credit cards, please enter your estimated amount to receive up to a 40% discount on processing costs. For high volume processing, we will have our Intuit Payments rep reach out to give you a customized quote. Keep in mind there are no upfront fees, no contract, and everything syncs automatically within QuickBooks. The time section is for companies that need to track their employees' time for payroll or billing purposes. Here you can choose the first day of the work week, and with the timesheet preferences, you can choose to show the service field for job costing, and if you bill for services, choose Allow Time to be Billable. If you need a more sophisticated time tracking system, QuickBooks Time is a seamless software solution. Click on my link below to learn more and get a discount for purchasing. The Advanced Settings tab is an important part of how QuickBooks works for your company. For example, you enter important accounting information for reporting purposes. Use class tracking and location to track sales and expenses in specific divisions and/or locations. And turn on automation features to work smarter. Let's go over advanced settings so you can decide what works best for you. Click in the accounting section. If your fiscal year is a different month than January, change it here. Next, choose the first month of your income tax year. Some companies will have a different fiscal year for accounting purposes, but use January as the first month of your income tax year. Choose whether your income tax year is the same as your fiscal year or January the first month of the new year. Choose your accounting method. Your options are accrual or cash basis. When using the cash accounting method, you record income and expenses at the time you receive the payment or pay a bill. A cash basis report will count income or expenses only when you receive a payment or pay a bill. When using the accrual accounting method, you record income and expenses when you send the invoice or receive the bill. An accrual basis report will count income and expenses regardless of when the invoice or bill was paid or not. Personally, I use the accrual method with my QuickBooks, but you can run reports with the cash basis. Next, let's talk about closing the books. If you use this feature, you can choose a closing date along with what permission to give the person trying to change or add a transaction after the closing date. You can simply give them a warning or have them enter a password to accept the new information. Keep in mind, if you don't enter a closing date and you close the period for financials, it can cause a lot of issues going back to figure out why your books don't match with your CPA or tax accountant. Click Save to save your changes. The next section is Company Type. This is where you choose your tax form your company is registered to file. If you don't know, choose Not Sure, Other, None. Save any changes. The Chart of Accounts section allows you to choose whether to enable account numbers. Some companies use them to categorize their finances. If you use them, enable the setting, then checkmark the Show Account Numbers if you want the account numbers to be shown on reports and transactions. The next area to set up is if you turned on shipping, discount, and tips within the sales tabs in the sales form content. To show you where this shows on the sales forms, I will take you to my invoice screen. If you chose shipping to be added to your sales form, you will need to assign the correct income account to be associated with the amount. For example, if I enter $200 to be charged for shipping, then it should show on the profit and loss as $200 in whatever account I had chosen. In my case, it's shipping income. This box shows on the bottom of your form before the total invoice amount. I also had chosen discounts to show on my sales form. Choose your discount account associated so that you can track your total discounts given to customers. The same goes for the tips account. Keep in mind that the tips account will only show on sales receipts. Choose the income account this should be associated with. I don't use tips, so leave the field blank. If you enable the feature to make expenses and items billable and checkmarked any of the options, you will need to choose the accounts that the income will be attributed to. Save any changes that you've made. In the category section, you can choose whether to use class tracking and locations. These are popular features and it lets you track specific segments of your transactions based on departments, locations, and product lines. For example, a construction company might want to get a profit and loss statement based on their residential sales compared to their commercial sales. If you enable this feature, checkmark the box if you want the system to warn when a transaction isn't assigned a class. Next, choose if you want to add a class to each transaction or the entire transaction. This would depend on if your classes will be divided into different classes on a transaction, or if not, it's easier to classify over the entire transaction. The Track Location feature allows you to track stores, sales regions, and countries. For example, I have rental companies who will use their property addresses for this feature so that they can see their profit on each location. Once you enable the feature, you need to choose a location label to be shown on the forms. Save any changes you made. I'm going to go to Enter an Invoice so that you can see where the fields show on the form. Location is shown in the upper right, and class is shown for each transaction. If I had chosen over the entire transaction, it would have shown in the header part of the invoice. Let's move on to the next section. In the Automation section, you can enable the feature to pre-fill forms with previously entered content. What that means is if you pay your electric company $200 and it gets posted to your utility account, then the next time you enter your vendor, which for us is Consumers Energy, the utility account will automatically show on the transaction. Next is to automatically apply credits. Let's say you go to enter an invoice for a customer. If there are any credits showing for that customer, it will automatically add the credits, which will reduce their amount due. If you take security deposits, do not enable this feature. If you enter unbilled activity with your customers, you can automate it so that it will invoice them without you having to create the invoice and adding the unbilled activity. The notifications will appear in the activity feed on the home page. Last in the automation section is how to apply bill payments. If you choose this feature, it will automatically apply the bill payment to the oldest bill date. Most companies use this feature. Save any changes that you made. If you have the project section and you track your jobs for profitability, you will want to enable this feature. This will show your sales, expenses, and timesheet by project. You could save any changes. The currency section defaults to the United States dollar as the home currency. If you need to change that, you can by choosing the correct currency. If you accept payment with more than one currency, you will want to enable this feature. Keep in mind, you cannot undo multi-currency once you enable it. Save any changes. In the Other Preference section, you can choose your date and number format. Choose the customer label you want to show on sales receipts and invoices. For example, if you are a nonprofit, you will most likely choose donors as your customer label. I would suggest turning on the 3 features that warn you if a duplicate check number, bill number, or journal number is used. If you don't, this could cause double entry or make a mess of your records. The last feature is to choose how long to keep your QuickBooks Online open to your computer before signing out of the software. Save any changes. That concludes our tutorial on account and settings within QuickBooks Online Advanced. Next, we will go through how to set up and customize your chart of accounts.